The moment Ethan Cole dropped to one knee in front of 300 employees, the entire room went silent. Not the polite kind of silence. The shocked kind. The kind that steals the air from your lungs. Sophia Bennett froze where she stood near the stage. A stack of presentation notes slipping from her trembling fingers. Around her, co-workers gasped. Someone screamed. Several people immediately pulled out their phones. At the center of the company's annual leadership conference, under bright lights and giant screens displaying the company logo, the billionaire CEO of one of the fastest-growing tech firms in America was holding a diamond ring. And he was looking directly at her. Tears instantly filled Sophia's eyes. Not because she was happy. Because she was terrified. This couldn't be happening. Not here. Not now. Not in front of everyone. Sophia, Ethan said, his voice carrying through the ballroom speakers. The audience collectively held its breath. She felt hundreds of eyes staring at her. Her heart pounded so hard it hurt. For 2 years, she had worked at Cole Innovations as a customer service manager. She respected Ethan deeply. But their interactions had been professional and limited. They weren't dating. They had never gone to dinner. They had never even spent time together outside of work. Which made what was happening impossible to understand. Sophia, Ethan repeated gently. Will you marry me? The room exploded. Applause. Cheers. Whistles. People assumed they were witnessing a secret love story. Sophia felt like she was standing inside a dream she didn't recognize. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. Then she saw something in Ethan's eyes. Not excitement. Not romance. Pain. A deep sadness hidden beneath his smile. And suddenly she realized there was something she didn't know. Something important. Something that explained all of this. 3 months earlier, Sophia's life had been falling apart. Her mother needed expensive medical treatments. Her younger brother had lost his job. Bills piled up faster than she could pay them. Most nights she skipped dinner to make sure her family had enough. Nobody at work knew. At least she thought nobody knew. Sophia had always been the kind of person who helped others quietly. When co-workers struggled financially, she organized anonymous collections. When an employee lost a spouse, she delivered meals every evening for weeks. When a janitor's daughter needed school supplies, Sophia bought them herself. She never posted about it. Never talked about it. Never expected recognition. Kindness, in her opinion, only counted when nobody was watching. One rainy evening, she was leaving the office when she noticed an elderly homeless man sitting outside the building. Most people hurried past him. Sophia stopped. She bought him dinner. Then another dinner the next night. And the next. For nearly 6 weeks. The old man rarely spoke. He simply thanked her with a warm smile. One evening he asked a question. Why do you keep helping me? Sophia shrugged. Because everyone matters. The man stared at her for a long moment. Then tears appeared in his eyes. You're a rare person. She smiled and walked away. What Sophia never knew was that the elderly homeless man wasn't homeless at all. And he wasn't a stranger. He was Richard Cole, Ethan's father. The founder of the company. A man worth hundreds of millions of dollars. After surviving a serious health scare, Richard had become troubled by what he saw in the world. He wanted to know whether people still helped others without expecting anything in return. So he spent several weeks disguised as a homeless man. Most people ignored him. Some insulted him. A few told security to remove him. Only one person consistently treated him with dignity. Sophia. Richard had told Ethan everything. Every meal. Every conversation. Every act of compassion. At first Ethan simply felt curious. Then impressed. Then deeply moved. Because kindness had become something rare inside the corporate world he lived in. Over the following months, Ethan quietly observed Sophia. He watched how she treated employees. How she remembered birthdays. How she stayed late to help struggling team members. How she celebrated other people's successes more than her own. The more he watched, the more he realized something uncomfortable. His company was successful. His life was successful. But he had slowly become the kind of person who measured everything by profits and performance. Sophia measured people by their humanity. And that changed him. Then came the phone call that altered everything. Richard suffered a second heart attack. This time he didn't survive. The loss devastated Ethan. His father had been his mentor, his hero, and his closest friend. While sorting through Richard's personal belongings, Ethan discovered a handwritten letter. Most of it contained advice about leadership, integrity, and life. But one paragraph stood out. If you ever find someone who reminds you that people matter more than money, don't let them disappear from your life. Those people are life's greatest treasures. At the bottom of the page was a single name. Sophia Bennett. Ethan stared at it for a long time. Then he cried. For the first time in years. Weeks passed. The company conference approached. Meanwhile, Sophia's mother's condition worsened. Medical debt continued growing. Despite everything, Sophia kept helping others, even while quietly drowning herself. Then the conference arrived. And now Ethan was kneeling in front of the entire company. Waiting. The ballroom remained frozen. Sophia finally found her voice. Ethan, she whispered. I don't understand. He slowly stood. The room became silent again. Then he did something nobody expected. He lowered the microphone and spoke directly to her. This isn't what everyone thinks. Confused murmurs spread through the audience. Ethan took a deep breath. My father spent the last weeks of his life telling me about someone extraordinary. Sophia's eyes widened. He continued. He told me about a woman who showed kindness when nobody was watching. The giant screens behind him suddenly changed. Photos appeared. Not glamorous photos. Simple ones. Sophia helping co-workers. Delivering food. Volunteering. Smiling beside people most employees barely noticed. Sophia covered her mouth. Tears streamed down her face. I didn't propose because of romance, Ethan said. The audience sat stunned. I proposed because I wanted the entire company to see what real value looks like. Silence. Absolute silence. Then Ethan held up the ring. This ring belonged to my mother. His voice cracked. She wore it for 38 years. Sophia could see tears in his eyes now. My father wanted it given to someone who represented everything she believed in. The room felt suspended in time. Ethan walked closer. You've spent years investing in people who couldn't repay you. His voice grew emotional. You gave dignity to my father when everyone else ignored him. Sophia began sobbing openly. You reminded him, and me, what humanity looks like. The audience was crying now too. Many employees wiped tears from their faces. Ethan gently placed the ring box in her hands. This isn't a marriage proposal. He smiled through tears. It's a thank you. Sophia stared at the ring. Speechless. Overwhelmed. Broken open by emotion. Then Ethan reached into his jacket and pulled out another envelope. There's one more thing. Inside was a document. Sophia looked down. Her hands shook. Then she gasped. Every medical bill for her mother had been paid. Every single one. In full. She nearly collapsed. The ballroom erupted with emotion. People cried openly. Others stood and applauded. Sophia looked at Ethan. Why? His answer was simple. Because kindness deserves kindness. The standing ovation lasted nearly 5 minutes. But the story didn't end there. Inspired by what they had witnessed, employees throughout the company began creating volunteer programs, scholarship funds, and community outreach projects. Departments competed not for profits but for impact. Within a year, thousands of lives had been touched. The culture of the company transformed. Not because of policies, Not because of management. Because one woman had quietly shown people how to care. Months later, Sophia visited Richard Cole's grave. She placed fresh flowers beside the headstone. The ring remained on a chain around her neck. Not as jewelry. As a reminder. She stood there silently until she noticed someone approaching. Ethan. He smiled softly. She smiled back. This time there were no cameras. No audience. No stage. Just two people connected by the memory of a man who believed kindness could change the world. Maybe he had been right. Because sometimes the most powerful people aren't CEOs. Sometimes they aren't wealthy. Sometimes they aren't famous. Sometimes they're simply ordinary people who choose compassion when nobody is looking. And those quiet acts of kindness create ripples that travel farther than anyone can imagine. Sophia never expected recognition for helping a stranger. She never expected rewards. She never expected her life to change. She simply believed every person deserved dignity. In the end, that belief transformed an entire company, healed countless hearts, and proved a timeless truth. Money can build businesses. Power can build empires. But kindness builds something far greater. It builds humanity.